0, 1.
Let's get started.
Why they stopping me?
Hello and welcome to the Cozy Sky Knits podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 16th. My name is Elizabeth, coming to you today from Georgetown, Texas, where I live with my mother, Nancy, and my two senior cockapoos, Sullivan and Griffin. I'm so glad that you're here to join me today. If you're new, welcome in. Thank you for giving my podcast a try, and hopefully you'll find something here to inspire you. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back again. I really enjoy and am so grateful for the community that we're building. I love the interaction that we have in the comments, and so if you feel so inclined, please go ahead and leave me another comment. I really do get great joy when I read them. Excuse me. And I just love interacting with everyone. So, and the community that we're building. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So let's get started with what we're wearing. So my partner over here, Sasha, she is wearing the first Ranunculus that I ever made. And I made this back in 2020. I knit it out of the Louet Euroflax, which is 100% wet spun linen. I'm not sure what wet spun means, but it was a really interesting fiber to work with. It was a little crunchy, but after the garment was finished, the drape on it is really beautiful, and it's been really great as far as washing it. I throw it in the dry. I usually hand wash it, and I throw it in the dryer to kind of shrink it up a little bit, and it's softened up just tremendously, and it's really a beautiful drapey fabric. I made the wide neck version with the ribbing on the top, and then I did the short rows in the front and the short rows in the back. So if you're familiar with the Renunculus, there are options to do short rows in the front or the back, or you can do one or the other. I don't know why you would do just the front. And I think last episode I talked about not doing them on my most recent Renunculus because I wasn't quite sure of the purpose. And now looking back at some of my other knits, I see what the purpose was, and that's just to bring more space between the lace and the neckband. So as you can see here, there's probably an inch or so from the ribbing before the lace motif starts. So anyway, I knit this one pretty basic. I just did like 3 rows. Once I picked up for the sleeves, I just knit like 3 plain rows, and then I did just a standard bind off. So it's just pretty basic sleeve. And then on the bottom, I just did the plain bottom. I didn't do any of the ribbing, edging, and just standard bind off. So it just kind of has a nice loose feel to it. The only thing, I do have to wear something underneath it because it is quite transparent. I knit this on a US size 8, which is 5.0 millimeters, I think. And I think I knit like the size 2 because at one point the neck all starts the same, the yoke is all the same for every size, and then as far as when you start in the width of the body is when you change sizes, and I think I knit the size 2 on that one. So that was the first one I made. Then what I'm wearing is the second one that I made, which I also knit the same year in 2020. And this one I made out of Classic Elite yarns in the Fortuna base, and it is the colorway Breeze. And it's a DK weight, and it is 58% linen, 26% rayon or viscose, and 16% cotton. So it has a little bit of almost like a nubbiness to it, and I wouldn't say really thick and thin, but just some variation. And then you can see where the cotton is. It creates like some nubbiness to the fabric. And I really enjoy this, this fabric a lot. I think it's really pretty because it's got a lot of dimension to it. And it's like a light aqua, greenish blue color. What else can I tell you about this one? I knit, same thing, size 2 on this one with the wide neck. I did the short rows in the front and the back, but this one I did a little bit of ribbing on the sleeves. So I picked up, knit 3 rounds, I believe, and then I just did maybe, I don't know, 1/2 inch of ribbing on the sleeves. And then on the bottom, I did the, stand up so you can see the drape on this one. I did the ribbing on the bottom of this one. So good, probably about 2.5 inches I did. It's actually a twisted ribbing. The only thing I don't like about the ribbing on this, and it's just a minor thing because it's not that I don't like it, but if I had to change anything, because I did twisted ribbing, it kind of skews the fabric slightly. So not a big deal. But again, this is worn really well. I wear it a lot. Again, as far as care, I just hand wash it and then I'll let it air dry, or I even have tossed it in the dryer to get it mostly dry and kind of shrink it up. They tend to stretch out as you wear them because the linen and the cotton content stretches out a bit. And so I'll just toss it in the dryer and shrink it up a little bit, and then it stretches back out. So, but pretty nice. I like the ease of it. Again, size 2 on this one. So those are the first 2, and that's what we're wearing. And then I wanted to show you another one that I made too. The third one that I made is more of a winter version, and I knit this one really oversized. So I'll show you here. You can see how boxy it is. It's quite wide. So I knit this using Noro Kiri in the color Anaka, and it's a DK weight yarn. It's no longer available. It's a discontinued yarn, but it's 47% silk, 39% wool, and 14% mohair. So it's got a little bit of a halo, a lot of drape from the silk, and it's a really nice fiber. I enjoyed. It has a really nice, not really rustic, but it just feels like natural, I guess is the best way to explain it, but it's not rough at all, or not scratchy. It's just really nice. It's very lightweight. And yeah, so I knit this one. I think I did the size 3 on this one. I knit this with a US 8 for the ribbing at the top and a US 10 for the body. So it's much more oversized because of the larger needle size, and then also going up a size. I did 3/4 sleeves on this one because obviously it's more of a winter fiber for me. So I did 3/4 sleeves, and then I just did the I-cord bind off on the edge. And on the bottom, I did this twisted rib. Now this one doesn't pull like the linen version does. So I think the linen and the twisted rib just isn't as compatible as like a more of a wool blend is, because this doesn't skew at all. So this too, I actually, because the neck tends to stretch out sometimes a little too far for me, I could go back and do a crocheted edge. I thought about that, or I could put an elastic in, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't mind it, and sometimes I will take this because it's so oversized. I'm able to soak it, give it a soak, and sometimes I toss it in the dryer and it pulls it all back in again. So I don't know, I wear this a lot as a layer just to kind of toss over a t-shirt or a long sleeve t-shirt when it's cold out. So yeah, so those are 3 of my Ranunculus, which I know that's a very, very popular pattern. I think maybe one of the most popular patterns on Ravelry, and so I thought I would just take a minute to kind of show you those. And then that leads me into finished objects. So my first finished object is also a Ranunculus, thus the theme of the Ranunculus. And that was a project I had started last week, or 2 weeks ago. On my last episode, I showed this as a work in progress, and it is finished. So you can see on the front here, I did the ribbing, but I did not do the short rows on the front. So it's kind of hard to tell because the yarn is so variegated, but it goes right into the lace as opposed to the back. You can see the short rows in here. So the fit's really nice on me. It is the Queensland collection Brighton Beach, which is a premium cotton and linen blend, and the colorway is Violet Sea Snail. So here's the yarn. can see what it looked like. And it is I think it's a sport weight yarn. I held it double though, because I wanted a denser fabric so I wouldn't have to wear anything under it if I didn't want to, and I don't. Now I probably could have knit single strand, and because there's so much variation in the color, you probably could have gotten away with not wearing anything, you know, other than a bra underneath it. But I don't know, I wanted a little bit of a heavier garment, because for me, even though this is cotton and linen, I will use this in the Texas fall, which is not that cold. So again, knit 3/4 sleeves on this one, and I did that, sorry about that, did the I-cord edging. Now I did alter, because the I-cord edging calls for a 5-stitch I-cord edging, and with this yarn being held double, it was a little too thick, so I started it on one sleeve and then I ripped it back a little bit, and I just did a did I do a three can't remember if I did a 3 or a 4 stitch. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 stitch. So just taking out 1 stitch brought the proportion in better for me. So super happy with it. It was just a little too warm today because it's high 90s today, so a little too warm to wear this to show you, but really pleased with the color, the way the color pooling, I guess lack of color pooling, there's enough variation, but because I held it double, it kind of mitigated the pooling, and so I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I think there's just enough to kind of make it interesting, but not too much to make it offensive or too busy. So super happy with it. I know a lot of people commented that it would be really cute with like a black pencil skirt or jeans, black jeans. I think it'll be super cute, and it looks very it's got a lot of red tones to it. It also has like a blue. It's really a kind of a chameleon color. I hold it up to a lot of different things in my wardrobe, and it pulls. It'll lean blue, it'll lean pink, it'll lean red, it'll lean gray, you know, depending on what I hold it with. So I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this. So that's my first finished object. The second finished object I have is also something I showed as a WIP last episode, and that is the traveling solo shawl or scarf. It was a single skein object project from Locatelli that she just released, I think in June, and she usually does at least one of these patterns a year. And you can see it's very pretty garter stitch, and then it's got a fun rope stitch, and then some little bit of easy lace and more rope stitch, garter stitch. Super engaging, easy, nothing hard about the pattern. Just a real light piece to wear around my neck, like that. And yeah, I love it. I think it's really cute. I had this yarn in my stash. It was from You're So Crafty, which is a little shop in Seguin, Texas, and it is on their Sparklish base, so it has Stellina in it. It's a real pretty pastels, and then it has a silver stellina running through it, so it's really pretty when the sunlight hits it, and it's the color Rose Petals. And I knit this on a US 6 or 4.0 millimeters, and I forget what the gauge was on it, but it doesn't really matter because it's just a scarf or a little shawlette. So super happy with that. I think it's cute, and I'll get a lot of wear out of it. I know it. The colors fit right into my wardrobe. Obviously, I'm a pink girl. I think I've said that before. But if you're new here, you'll learn that about me. I'm a pink girl. So then my last finished object that I have is something you haven't seen yet. I haven't talked about them. So I cast on a pair of socks, and I ended up finishing them like in a few days. So I forgot to mention that I did buy this book last time in my acquisitions, the Sock Project by Summer Lee. A really cute book, a lot of fun. Her use of color is just so much fun, and a lot of cute. I think there's like 25 sock patterns in here. She talks a lot about different construction as far as the heel constructions with afterthought heel versus heel flap and gusset. I don't know if she talked about the Flegel heel in here or not, but anyway, she talks about fading, striping, textured, so it's a good mix of sock patterns in there. I really enjoy this book, and I made the surf wax socks. So here they are. So you can see they're texture pattern, some striping at the top, which made them kind of almost like a little bit of an athletic look. And then I added this little short row of an accent that matches the cuff. So that was not called for in the pattern. I just put that in because I think that's a really cute thing to do. As far as the yarn, it was Deep Dive Stash. It was from Adelaide Cottage Yarn, which was Shauna used to dye that yarn. She was an indie dyer, I think, out of Buffalo, New York, and she no longer dyes yarn, but at least not for sale. And this was on her sock base. It was called Toasty Sock in the color Mint Rain. So there was her thing. And I just had a single skein of it. And then for the accent, this is Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles, which I normally wouldn't use this for a sock, but because I was just doing it on the cuff, and then that little bit is not a wear point on a sock, I figured it'd be fine to use, and I thought it went really well because this yarn has all these little kind of turquoisey and blue and green speckles, and I thought it was a good accent. So this is the colorway Wish. So I just use a smidge of that for the cuffs and the toe accent. So yeah, those are my finished objects. So let's talk about some works in progress. Last episode, I showed a couple of finished objects of projects that I had inherited from my friend Phyllis, who was my knitting mentor from Michigan, and she passed away a few years ago. So I got, after finishing those two that I showed last time, I thought, okay, I'm gonna find another project of hers because it really made me feel good to finish those. And so I dug out another one, and also this is taking up quite a bit of space in my closet, so to speak, or my craft room. So I found another one that is a poncho, and it is the Summer in Berkley by Linda Cohen. And this pattern was actually printed out and in with the project. So I'm not sure if it's a paid for pattern. I haven't even looked it up. But it is knit on it's a poncho, obviously, and it's quite a ways done. And I think there's only like a skein and a little bit left to knit. So the yarn is by Lang Yarns in Setasol, which is like a tape. Here, let me show you on this one. It's a kind of a tape yarn. You can see that. And it is made, it's really soft, but it's made of 50% cotton, 30% modal, and 20% silk. Oh, that's why it's so soft and has a nice little bit of a sheen to it and real nice drape to it. Really pretty. It's quite heavy in weight, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be easy for me to finish off. And I have a friend of ours that I'm planning to send it to once it's done. A friend of ours from Michigan. So it's even still on her needles. So it's kind of interesting. I'll just pick up and probably knit with her needles, and then maybe send the needles back to her daughter, and send the finished object up to my girlfriend, who I know will appreciate it. But very pretty, light blue, kind of reminds me of beach. So very apropos to Michigan, which is one of the Great Lake states. So yep. Speaking of lakes, so this weekend I am going with my knitting friends from San Antonio to my girlfriend Carrie, from, you may have known from Pearled, Texas podcast, and then she also had a podcast, I think it was called Knitters Want to Knit or something, a few years ago with Darlene York from Bags by Awesome Granny. Anyway, Carrie's sister has a lake house in Marble Falls, Texas, which is, I don't know, maybe an hour from me, and it's on the lake, and we usually go every year, a group of us, and just for a weekend, and all we do is sit in our pajamas and sit out on the dock and knit all day long. And when it gets too hot, we go into the air conditioning, but we always have a good time, and we take, each person takes a different meal to make, and so we have a lot of food and drinks, and it's just a lot of fun girl time. So I plan to take this because I think it'll be easy to work on. So there's that. Hopefully that will be finished next episode. And then I also started, a few episodes ago, I had showed some yarn from Suburban Stitcher. It's the summer sock base, which has cotton in it. And so it's, I think, 20% cotton and 80% superwash wool. And the colors are Cadet and, oh, maybe, I can't remember what color this is, and I don't know where the ball band is. But anyway, it'll be in my Ravelry project if you want to know the color of it. It might have been like Barbie pink or something.
The color is Barbie Girl.
And so I had talked about knitting from Crea Bea, Rebecca Clow, the Tolsta tee. And so this is the fingering weight version, which is, I think she calls it the 4-ply version. And so I just started this a couple days ago, and I got through the neck. I'm a little concerned because the neck looks like it's going to be quite wide for a t-shirt. I don't know, I usually like a crew neck more in here, as I'm looking at this, which is wider. It'll probably be about this width, so I guess it's probably going to be okay. I shouldn't say anything, but this fabric that the yarn is creating is so lightweight, and so you're knitting it. I'm used a size 2 for the ribbing and a US size 4 for the main body, and I'm striping it, as you can see. So I'm going to do a sequence of 9 rows of the Cadet, which the blue, and then 3 rows of the pink. I have 2 skeins of the Cadet and only 1 skein of the pink. So I'm doing a 3-to-1 ratio for my striping sequence. And I'll just do that through the whole body and on the sleeves, and it'll be a short sleeve tee. So the fabric though is super light, and I know because you're knitting on a US 4 with the fingering, it's you know, a looser gauge, and with that cotton in the yarn, it's so lightweight and it's super soft. So I don't know if Diane from Suburban Stitcher still offers that base or not, but yeah, it's really nice. I really like it, and really good summer weight yarn for Texas. So okay, what else? Those are really the only 2 active works in progress that I have. I didn't make any progress on my rose cardigan. I don't know, I haven't wanted to pick it up. So when I do, I know I'll just kind of plow through the rest of it, but maybe I just needed a break from it. I don't know. Then I wound up a couple other skeins of yarn because I need to get more socks. The socks have been bringing me so much joy. So this is from So Happy Jane in the colorway Pistachio Cream, and it's on her bouncy fingering, which has 463 yards per 100 grams. And it's this beautiful, kind of just a creamy color, more of a cool tone cream though, with different speckles of the green and rose, almost a rust color, a little bit of yellow. They were very, very pretty. So I'm going to try to find a sock pattern to make with these, but I haven't decided which one to do yet. So maybe something lacy. I think this is lightly speckled enough that maybe something lacy would be pretty. Or I don't know, maybe those Thursday night socks, because I did love that, and I think this would be perfect for those. So maybe that. And then I also wound up another one into a cake because I couldn't decide. So this is some really old stash too. This is from 3 Irish Girls, and I got this years ago in Minnesota, when I was in Minnesota, I think. And it's their Adorn Luxe base, which is 85% merino and 15% nylon, 430 yards per 100 grams. And this is the colorway My Cherie Amour. So it's a pale peachy pink. I guess it probably leans more peach than anything. And then it's got some very light speckles of rust and an ochre color, a little bit of green, like an olivey green, and maybe a little bit of a dark brown. So super pretty. So that also will be socks. So I need 2 sock patterns. I don't know, I'll look through the Summerly sock book and maybe my 52 weeks of socks and pick out a pattern from those. I'm not sure which one, but yet to be determined, but soon to be on my needles, because I want some socks back on my needles. I'm just enjoying them, like I said, bringing me immense joy. Not sure why, but they are. So those are my works in progress. That's pretty much it. I do have one other thing that I'm going to be casting on, but I'm not going to show it today because I don't know where I put the yarn. I'm going to cast it on tonight, but it's a project that my friend Melissa, also from the Pearled in Texas podcast, she and I bought the yarn a couple of years ago, and we were at DFW to make it's the Alpenglow, I'll tell you that, from Andrea Mowry. and we both bought yarn, and neither one of us had started. We bought it with the intention of knitting it together, so we decided that we're going to cast on today or tomorrow, and then take it to the lake with us on Friday, and we'll work on them together at the lake house. So that'll be fun. So you'll see that next episode. As far as acquisitions go, I only purchased one thing since the last episode, so that's good. I showed this before. I had purchased this tussocks from Pearl Soho, which is their silk mohair base, which is 60% superfine kid mohair and 40% silk in the color, I think it's called Lucky Green. And so I really want a bright green cardigan for winter. And so I was looking for something to match this, and over 4th of July weekend, Knit ATX, which is a local yarn store in Austin, Texas, had a sale, and I found this. It's Kelborn Woolens, and it's their Georgetown base, which the color is emerald. So and it's really nice. It's 100% North American wool, 220 yards per 100 grams. So it's considered a medium base. I think it's like a worsted. So I thought it was an exact match. So I'm quite pleased with that, because I bought it online, and sometimes colors online, might be a little bit off, but it's really a good match. And I think it's going to be beautiful knit up together. So I'm in search of the cardigan pattern that I want. I think I want a V-neck cardigan, not a crew neck, but a V-neck. And I can't decide if I want one that's maybe got some ribbing to it. I don't know. I can't decide. I have a couple things in mind, so I don't know, but got the yarn. Now I just need to do some swatching to see what my gauge is, and then I can pick the pattern out. But I also had made a yellow cardigan a couple years ago, which I just made up the pattern, and I know I can make this work for that if I want to do that. So something similar to that one, but I think I want a double knit button band on it as well. So those are a couple of my criteria for picking a pattern. So we'll see what happens with that. That was my only acquisition. But I also got these little socks that I just, I knit socks. Why would I buy socks? But when you see them, they're so cute. These are from Powder, and they have these little sheep all over them. And I just thought they were the sweetest socks. They even have like a picot edge and the lavender and the pink. And I just thought they were so cute. So I bought those. Can't remember where I bought them, but I think they're super cute. And so I wanted to show them, because they're not knitting related, but kind of, because of the sheep. So grant me a little grace on that one. So I think that's about it. This is probably going to be a shorter episode. Sorry, there's a little weird lighting coming in. I'm losing my sunlight, so got some weird light coming in through my plantation shutters. So I apologize for that. But anyway, that's all the knitting content I have today. Other than that, not much else is going on. I last posted over 4th of July weekend my episode, and the very next day is when we had that tragic flooding here in Central Texas. So please keep our state in your thoughts and prayers. It was pretty horrific. And our town was affected. We had some evacuation areas, and we had an RV park along our downtown river area that was wiped out, and some people lost their lives. In the next town over, 2 towns over, there was also quite a bit of flooding, and I think a dozen people were killed, including one of the fire marshals who was trying to rescue people. So quite sad. And then, of course, I'm sure if you're in the States, you've heard all of the news of what happened in Kerrville, which is not too far away, 1.5 to 2 hours away, and just west of us. And that camp with all the little girls that were washed away. That was pretty horrific. So very tough time for our state. Very tough time for all the families that were impacted. And it's been tough the last couple of weeks. Ever since then, that whole weekend, pretty much the dam rained continuously, and just the constant flood warnings going off. It was not pleasant, but we're very fortunate that we're up a little bit higher ground, and it was just a mile or two away. There was that flooding, so we feel grateful, but I just ask everyone to keep us in your hearts as our state and all these families work through these horrific losses, both life and property. So that's about it. I don't know. Work is still crazy. No improvements there. So I don't know. I'd be glad to have another long weekend this weekend because I took Friday off. So, and spend some time with my girlfriends. That'll be good. Get my mind off of stuff. And I think that's about it. I don't know. I know it's going to be a shorter episode today. I did want to film though because I am going to be gone over the weekend. So I didn't want there to be 3 weeks. I wanted to get it done in 2 weeks. So hopefully you found something in here that will inspire you or did inspire you. And if you haven't knitted a Renunculus and you're kind of on the fence and you're wondering what all the hype is about, I encourage you to do so because it's a really nice pattern. It's fun, quick, and a good way to use up some stash. And I don't know, the pieces are just pretty versatile, and I think most people that do knit them get a lot of wear out of them. Now that light is really bad coming across. I apologize for that. But anyway, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye, and just hope that all of you are continuing to enjoy your summer if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, and staying cozy if you're in the Southern Hemisphere. And take care, enjoy your making, and find joy in everything you do. And I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.